In this video, we're going to talk about determinants of demand. Determinants of demand are consumer preferences, prices of related goods, income, expectation, and number of buyers. We'll start with consumer preferences. Some people really like college basketball. Some people really like CCM and UC's music. Okay, but everyone here can agree that no one likes Xavier basketball. We all have the same preferences. We would all prefer Cincinnati basketball over Xavier basketball. That's part of consumer preferences. Some people would prefer to go to a basketball game, and therefore their demand for attending a UC basketball game would be higher than their demand to go to a concert put on by CCM. Some people prefer to go to the concert, and they will have different demands individually, and we can combine everybody's individual demand to get the actual demand curve for both basketball tickets as well as music concert tickets. Next determinant of demand is prices of related goods. This can be substitutes and complements. So we'll start with substitutes. Skyline and Gold Star's demand are affected by the price of the other one. So let's take a Skyline three-way, for example. If Skyline jacked the price of their three-ways up to $50 a three-way, the demand for Gold Star three-ways would increase because you can get a Gold Star chili three-way for a lot cheaper than $50. Okay? Other examples of substitutes are goods like Coke and Pepsi. If the price of Pepsi went from $1 a can to 1 penny a can, you'd be more likely to buy a Pepsi than a Coke when you went to the vending machine. Different types of gasoline, so Shell versus BP are substitutes. Pens versus pencils. There are lots of different substitutes. Okay? Another related good, the opposite of substitutes, is complements. And an example of a perfect complement is left shoes and right shoes. You wouldn't buy a left shoe without being able to purchase the right shoe also. Therefore, they're perfect complements. We can think about what happens to the price of complements if you think about what happens to the price of different shoes. So we assume shoes come in pairs, but let's say that they're sold separately. If the price of right shoes is $10 and the price of left shoes is $10, then the price of your pair of shoes would be $20. But now let's say the price of left shoes is $10 and the price of right shoes is $400. So that same pair of shoes is now $410 because the price of the right shoe is $400. The price of the left shoe is $10. Are you likely to buy that left shoe even though it still costs $10? Well, no, you're a lot less likely because the right shoe that it comes with is $400. Other examples of complements include cookies and milk, peanut butter and jelly, and all the ink in your printer cartridges. Okay? These are all complementary goods. They all go together, and if the price of one is changed, it affects the price of the other. Next, we want to talk about incomes. Right now, you're in college, you're a college student, you're living in something similar to this dorm setup in the bottom left, and you might be driving something like this Toyota Camry because you're not making that much money, right? I speak from a little bit of experience. I used to live in a dorm similar to this one, and I used to drive a car similar to that one, right? And I'm hoping someday, soon, my income will increase, and I'll be able to live in something like the Biltmore and drive something like the new Corvette Scooter, right? My income will increase, and I will have an increased demand for housing and cars. So income increases, that increases my demand. If the income increases and it doesn't increase my demand, then that's called an inferior good. When I was in college, I ate a lot of this stuff, ramen noodles. Now that I'm out of college, I eat a lot less ramen noodles. So ramen noodles for me is an inferior good. Because I make more money than I did in college, I consume less ramen noodles. Another example is Kentucky Gentleman. Kentucky Gentleman was my drink of choice in college. I drank a lot of it. My income has gone up, and I have not drank Kentucky Gentleman in quite some time. So I can afford better bourbon. When I first graduated college, I ate a lot of these Kroger brand chicken breasts. They were really cheap, and I would eat them for dinner 6 times a week. Now that I have a better paying job than I did when I was first out of college, not by much, but I am married and my wife has a much better paying job, we don't have to eat these frozen chicken breasts anymore. We can actually afford to buy refrigerated chicken breasts. Nicer food to eat for dinner. So these Kroger brand chicken breasts are also, for me, an inferior good. As my income went up, my demand for these goods went down. Those make them inferior goods. Normal goods, when your income goes up, the demand for that good goes up. The next determinant of demand is expectations. Okay? We can look at this in terms of the iPhone. So when the iPhone 6 was released, the demand for iPhone 5s would fall, right? So iPhones come out every September or October. It's every fall. iPhones are released. The new iPhone comes out. So demand every fall for the old iPhone is going to fall because people aren't going to want to be using the iPhone that's out of date by a year. Another example of expectations is gym memberships. Demand for gym memberships goes way up in January of every year because all fall we have had Thanksgiving and maybe a Christmas or other holiday celebration in December, and we're feeling a little sluggish and look at ourselves in the mirror and think, hey, I really should start working out. So we join a gym like Planet Fitness, and Planet Fitness is expecting that. We're expecting an increase in demand. The last determinant of demand is number of buyers. Number of buyers is really determined by how many people are willing to buy a good or product or service. There's an entire field that is centered entirely around this portion of the determinant of demand. It's marketing. The entire idea of marketing is to increase the number of buyers. The more buyers you have, the higher the demand. So just a quick recap. All of our determinants of demand, we have consumer preferences, prices of related goods, complements and substitutes. We have incomes, that's for normal and inferior goods, expectations, and number of buyers.